tuning. A good quality blow-off valve is usually one of the very first modifications many turbocharger owners make, because in many cases the factory blow-off valve is barely adequate for stock boost levels, let alone the modified boost levels that come with custom tuning. In the case of our Fiesta ST, we're already running a full exhaust along with a custom tune, so today we're going to upgrade our plastic bypass valve to this high quality blow-off valve from Turbosmart. We're going with the Turbosmart Kompact Shortie, which is a built-up blow-off valve with a high-quality piston inside of it. This is a much better design than the factory plastic blow-off valve with the spring. Since the factory sensor is electronically controlled, Turbosmart provides everything necessary to convert over to a vacuum style. That includes the block-off plug itself, the vacuum block which is going underneath your map sensor, obviously the blow-off valve assembly, and then a vacuum line to connect the two together. For this installation, we need a lift or a jack and jack stands, 1/4-inch ratchet, 8mm socket, short extension, 5mm Allen key, 4mm Allen key, T30 Torx bit, 7mm wrench, and a razor blade. Even though the factory valve is going to be more underneath the car, we're going to begin the installation under the hood by doing all the modifications at the map sensor. The first step, pop off the factory engine cover. The map sensor is located right here. First thing you want to do is unplug it, get the plug out of the way, then we'll remove the sensor. We'll start off by assembling the vacuum block before it goes onto our car. There's 2 ports on the front here. One port is going to get the bung that's going to go to our vacuum line. The other port's going to get a block off. Put a little thread sealant on it. Get it snug, you don't have to go crazy tightening it, just get it decently tight. Now we're going to use a supply bolt and bolt the factory sensor to the vacuum block. And it's ready to go on the car. And make sure the O-ring is clean and put it back into place. And reinstall the factory bolt. Once that's done, just plug it back in. The map sensor adapter installed. Put one of the clamps over the rubber hose and work that on. Tight the clamp up into place. Now the vacuum line is going to get fished down to the factory location. We're just going to sort of fish it back here, and we'll come back later and zip tie it in place once everything's connected. The factory blow-off valve is located right up here on the back side of the turbo. You can sort of reach it by coming up from behind the front cross member. We found it's easier though. Take this turbo pipe out of the way, gives you a lot more room to get up in there. Blow-off valve is located right here in the back of the turbo. We'll start by unplugging the harness. Gives us a little more room to access the bolts. This is where the bypass plug goes. You have to cut the split loom into tape so we can trim it back to get to the actual wire. You're going to use these connectors to crimp onto the wires. It doesn't matter which color goes in which side, it's just basically creating a loop. I'm going to squeeze them until you hear it click. We can tie that harness up out of the way. The Turbosmart's adjustable. You see which is harder or softer. You can turn it to adjust for elevation or higher boost levels. You want to install pretty much as it comes out of the box, as most times the preset factory setting is okay. If you do need to adjust it, what you want to do is turn it to full soft. Start the car up, you'll rev it up a couple times, it'll seem like it wants to die. What you want to do then is turn it one turn at a time towards hard until you can rev it up and it returns to a smooth idle without stumbling. You put the blow-off valve up into place. Put one of the bolts on so we can start it to hold it in place. This will probably look a lot easier on camera than it really is. The top front bolt is tough to get to. It's very tight up in there. There's not a lot of room. Get the other two started, then get the third bolt in, tighten that one down, then tighten the other two. Okay, with the blow-off valve tightened down, I'm going to put our clamp over the hose so we get it up top. I put the hose connected to the blow-off valve. And grab some of the provided zip ties and zip tie the vacuum line out of the way. Make sure it's not going to get in the way of anything else that's moving parts, but also don't grip it too tight so you don't want to suction it closed. Once that's done, we can reinstall the turbo pipe. Put a couple more zip ties up top here, make sure the vacuum line is free of any restrictions. Reinstall the engine cover and your installation is finished. What you'll want to do now is fire it up, make sure it settles into an idle, rev it a few times, make sure you can hear it working, but make sure it holds an idle and doesn't flutter. Now that's exactly what you're looking for. You want to hear it when you rev it up. When it drops down, it should hold a nice idle.